Hello, welcome back to the channel. The temperature is actually the coolest it's been all week, which I think is around 85. I think it's supposed to get up to about 88. Which is actually starting to feel a little better than the 90s and the hundreds it has been in. But here we are into September, and the veg garden is looking like a mess. I've got a lot of plants that are going over, they're past their prime. I've got some plants which are going to be ready to harvest soon, like the sweet potato, and some melon. Squashes they're gone. Sorry, a little winded there doing all that work. But what I started doing last night and what I continued doing this morning was ripping out some of the old, filling up some of the beds in preparation for fall planting. I tore out my tomatoes. I'm undecided what to do with the basil at that moment in that bed. Maybe I'll just let it go to the end of the season because it is starting to go to flower and the bees do love it. And why not let them profit off of it, as it were, until the end of the year. The compost that was in this first bin had been in there since the spring, well rotted down for the most part. And I took a lot of that, as you probably again saw in the first part of the video, put it in the first bed up by the greenhouse, and some of it went into a bed which I mentioned in prior videos I'm going to use for planting out gladiolus seed next spring. I think I'm going to start some gladiolus seed this fall in the greenhouse just to see what happens. I don't expect them to do much. I'll start a small tray, but just as an experiment, start it in the fall, overwinter in the greenhouse over the winter. Maybe I'll get some growth, maybe I'll get some germination, maybe I won't. And in the springtime, I'll plant up the one bed that I started filling up last night that was really empty with the gladiolus seed. We'll see what happens with a little luck. Cross my fingers and toes. We get gladiolus corns growing that I can then hopefully harvest in the fall if they're big enough, and maybe even sell on. And that'll be something that I'll discuss more in the upcoming weeks. I've been kind of teasing selling some stuff recently, and I hope to announce that hopefully in the next few weeks. Let you guys know what it is that will be happening here in the near future. Cross my fingers and toes. But back to what I was saying here. So this first bin, I emptied out, and I needed to do that also because I needed someplace to put all those tomatoes, which here we go. So the tomatoes went in here. I threw a basil plant in here just because I could. This bin over here is pretty much done. There's some top stuff which is still not fully rotted down. I'll take that out and I'll put that into this last bin, which I will try to finish filling up probably in the next few weeks. And then I'll let that rot down over the winter, I should say, and that'll be ready to go for this upcoming spring. And then, of course, like I said, I'll start filling this one up here probably in the next few weeks once I empty it out. Some of it will go into that one bed. Some of it will go out around the garden around certain shrubs and other trees to again improve the soil around those trees and to help fertilize them. And I'll discuss more about that when I do that. I'll probably do another video on that this year, maybe even a short, who knows. But like I said, this bin is almost full. It's still got a ways to go. I've been working on this pretty much all summer long, and I fill it up and then everything rots down, and then I fill it up and everything rots down. I fill it up because again, it's been so hot and humid this summer. It's great for rotting all this green material down. I put a little browns in there, such as cardboard and a few other things, but it's mostly green material. And it's just been cooking, which is great. That's what's going on here. And so now I'm gonna start planting up the first bed with stuff that I plan on growing over the fall. So let's get to that now, and I'll show you what I'm planting. I lost my little dog, but I just found her. Looks like she has found a little bit of shade. She's smart like that. She finds any little bit of shade she can, which is good on these brutally hot days. Okay, to kick off my fall planting, as it were. Now, you saw how I prepped this bed, but let me go over it one more time. I did put in some of my own my own garden compost. But I'm not planting into that. And the reason being is I don't trust it. So in other words, I don't believe it got hot enough to cook off all the weed seeds. Or at least it's my concern or / fear. Doesn't mean it's not any good. It just means that if I only use just that, there's a real possibility I have weeds popping up that I have to deal with regularly, really stay on top of, and they could really get out of control if the compost didn't get hot enough to cook them off. So what I did was I put down a couple inches of that, which helped empty out that compost bin, which I needed to do. And then I put down 6 bags of the Daddy Pete's raised bed mix, which is beautiful stuff. I love it. And this bed, even though it has been sinking down, it's sinking down less and less now, where I think we're into the 3rd or 4th time I'm topping this bed off. So by the springtime, I do imagine it'll sink down a couple of inches, but beyond that, as time goes on, I don't expect it to continue dropping a lot every year, maybe a few inches. So what I'm gonna plant in this bed are 2 different things. One is a calendula, and I'm gonna do that right down at the end here. It's an orange calendula. It is called I'll put the name on the screen here. I can't pronounce it, but basically it's an orange calendula. It says days to harvest 80, which should put us around early to mid-December. My math is probably off, but you can go ahead and correct me down below. But either way, I'm going to plant some calendula early to mid-December. We may get some light frosts during that time. Hopefully it won't impact or kill off the plant too much. I don't expect a hard frost to come in until late December, early January. That's typically the way it rolls around here. I could be completely wrong, and this could be a complete waste of time and effort. But maybe we'll get some beautiful flowers out of that late into the fall, early winter. Again, I'm in growing zone 8A in case you're new to the channel, and I'm in eastern North Carolina, so I'm along the coast. We do get freezes, but the ground itself doesn't freeze. So we'll have to see what happens. But let me get this planted now, and the sooner obviously I plant this, the better chance. I really should have planted this a couple of weeks ago, but it was just too hot, and I hadn't topped this bed off, and but now it's getting cooler. So it should also help the calendula. It likes the warm soil, but it doesn't like to grow in the blistering heat. So it'll get the warm soil, but as the temperatures cool over the next few weeks, it'll help the plants out. As I'm babbling over my own, can't talk, words hard. It's the heat, it's cooking my brain. I think I'm just gonna do one little row here. These get to 18 to 24. I don't think I have to plant these very deep. Let's see. Seed depth, 1/8 of an inch. Perfect. And I may have to come back and thin some of this out, which is fine too. You never know what seeds you're going to take off. If you've planted calendula before, drop a comment there in the comments. Let me know. If you have any comments about what it is I'm doing or why I'm doing something, again, please leave those comments below. I'm a growing gardener. I have very little clue as to what I'm doing. I've read the books, I've watched the YouTube channels, but sometimes experience teaches all. All right, the next thing I'm going to be planting is red Creole onion. Now, both these seeds I got from So True Seed. They're a small woman-based company here in Asheville, North Carolina, I believe. And I've been buying from them for the last, year or so. And good prices. I like their prices, and I like the range of products that they offer. Go check them out. You can check them out online. I think it's something like SoTrueSeed.com or something. If I remember, I'll put a thing here, or again, just Google So True Seed. All right, next, so this is red onions, and my understanding is it says days to harvest 85 to 190. Now that would put us basically into the end of mid to late December. Now, I'm a little concerned about that, but I have read that you can grow onions down here in the south in zone 8A into the fall, early winter, and get a harvest, get a crop out of them. Now, I did mention this to the owner of my local nursery, garden center, I should say, and she said she's done the same exact thing, planted now, and left the onions in all winter long, and harvested them in the springtime. Now, I don't know about that. Again, it depends upon the freezes and all, but I'm going to give it a try. because that's all you can do is try and see what happens. And honestly, if as long as we don't get a super hard freeze like we did last Christmas, she might have something. And I'm over sowing these as well, just FYI. And I will thin as the seed germinates, because obviously you want to give your onions space to grow. Alrighty, that's the seed packet. So that worked out well. Again, I oversowed, so I will be thinning these depending upon what germinates and what doesn't germinate. But the beginning of my fall planting is done. Let me water this in. I'm gonna give it a really good soak now, and then I'll come back out, and when I do some of my evening watering, because I do come out in the evenings and give some of the plants a water, again, just because it's been so brutally hot. As the temperatures cool, the evaporation in the soil goes down. At that point, probably only water once a day, maybe just in the mornings. But until then, I usually do a morning and then an evening watering. There we go. That should be good to start. Like I said, I'll come back out of here tonight and I'll give it another soak. And hopefully within the next week or two, we start seeing some of these come up and germinate. That will be exciting. And there's so much more to do. So, you know, as I mentioned, I have to rip out the squashes, and I think the cucumbers, the Armenian and green apple are pretty much done. I have to rip those out. But I'm not going to do that all right now because it's about 10:30 in the morning and it's getting far too hot and I am just drenched. So we're going to wrap this video up. Like I said, it's hot. Sophie's hot, aren't you? But she wants to be out here with me, which is crazy because then I feel bad sometimes. Sometimes I just throw her in the house and she doesn't like it, but it's better than her getting heat stroke. The two of us are about to get heat stroke, so yeah, all right, I'll put you down. She's going to find someplace cool to hang out while I stand here in the sun and wrap up this video. If you haven't checked out all the links below, please check out those links below. If you haven't left a comment, please leave a comment. Helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I know a lot of you watch these videos and don't subscribe. You don't have to watch every video. I don't watch every video that of people I'm subscribed to. Sometimes they post up a video, it looks not interesting at all to me or no interest at all, and I'll just skip it, but I'm subscribed so I know when they post up the next one, and then I'll see if that's of interest to me. So you guys do the same thing. Hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. Whew. Temperatures are starting to go down. I know today's still hot, but I had to get that stuff into the ground. To do that, I needed to get the compost bins emptied, make things start happening, start moving. The temperatures, I think by next Saturday, will be down to 80, which still sounds hot to a lot of you, but here in eastern North Carolina, it's starting to cool off. Before you know it, we'll have 70-degree days, and yeah, I can start really getting a lot more done outside without the fear of getting heat stroke. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye. Come on, Sophie. Come on.